Hey, Anthony here from West Coast Custom Concrete. Welcome to my video. It feels good to be back. I've been on a 3-month hiatus. We've had some beautiful weather, and I'm coming back with an absolute banger. This thing is straight fire. This is floating steps with LED lights with a little pony wall in front. The customer was the lady had just exquisite taste, and she showed me a picture of what she wanted, and I was all over it because I'm handpicking what I do. A lot of people are calling me and asking me how I market myself and what my approach is in my mindset. I'll tell you a lot about that in this video about how I approach it and the way I look at things. So all we had to demo was this porch. This house is probably 1962 or something like that. I'm in Inglewood, California. So we just have a little bit of demo and a little sidewalk. And this is about a 4-day job other than this little demo day we came out just to bring the material and take this front porch out. This job is just straight fire, more of it. It's more of basically what West Coast is all about is this a job like this. I love jobs like this. So I'm going to start specializing in a lot of just entryways and grand entryways. And the way I market it and the way I look at it is a lot of these people have owned these houses for 20, 40 years. Some people have inherited it. Some people just bought it. And their house it's very personal for them to invite you to their house and do their entryway that they're going to walk up potentially the rest of their life. So I look at it as it's a very personal thing. Plus, I like designing it, and the people absolutely love what I bring to the table. So, their kids are going to inherit it. Probably the girls who own this house, the daughter is 2 years old. She's probably going to walk up these steps through elementary, junior high, high school. People are going to say, "Oh, you live at the house where those steps with the lights are." It's a signature piece. I mean, it's incredible the way this came out, and I love the challenge of it. Concrete is a one-shot deal, and that's the beauty of this. And there's tricks to pouring these that a lot of people haven't seemed to be able to pull it off yet. This is just basic demo. You just got to be. I just brought the little skid steer, the Force S70. Excuse me. You guys have seen this thing a lot, but a lot of people ask me how I market. I mean, I'm not a guy who comes up to a job and they say, "Oh, we're gonna get 4 bids, and then we're gonna take the middle bid or whatever." Usually, when I bid it, I'm a specialty. I have a different lane. They know what I'm worth. That's the thing. People say you got to know your worth. Well, you'd have to be a dummy not to know what you're worth. You're not a professional if you don't know what you're worth. You need to have the customer know your worth. Like when I show up to this job to bid this, I just let them, I tell them straight up, there's not many people. Oh, I know. I've seen your work. I've seen YouTube. It just put me in a different lane where I'm not really bidding against other people. You know, they know what it's going to be. They know what the expense is going to be. And when you see how the way that my team operates and everyone on here, the way we do it, it's such an oiled, just perfectly running machine. It's crazy. It's not just a YouTube gimmick. You know what I mean? This is the real deal. This little skid steer is sweet. It's really light. It's only 2,800 pounds. So if I do little stuff like this, I don't want to haul one of the bigger ones around. But I have an S250 with an 800-pound breaker too that you guys I've never had on here because there's no need to do it. And you don't have to do 100 yards. You don't have to do any of this. You can just stick residential, make a very good living. Try not to get big. You could tell somebody's business if they know what they're doing. You see a guy with a platinum running residential concrete, you already know they're just a dumbass. You don't need all that stuff. That's a 2014 S70, and look what I'm doing with it. Why do I need a new one? You know what I mean? I don't have a payment on anything, and that's why I sat for 3 months. That's my philosophy, the whole thing. I sat for 3 months and did whatever I wanted because I own everything that I have. I don't, if I need something, I'll buy it. You know what I mean? But all the maintenance is done. I have a mobile guy that comes in my yard, does everything for me. I don't really like to do maintenance on my stuff. I don't like getting oil on myself. That's why I work hard to go to the beach and hang out with my girls and do whatever I want, go on bike rides or whatever I want to do. And then I get calls and I'm hand picking them, and it's manifesting into it where I'm getting known everywhere. I was more known in LA than Orange County. They're yelling West Coast and lights at me and stuff, different guys. And it never was about that for me. I just wanted to showcase what I did and not sit there and try and bid against 5 other guys and where they say, well, for an example, you're at 12.5, there's another guy at 10, If you could match him, we like you better, and that kind of crap. Because I'm not dealing with that. But I've had to do it. You have to do it. You have to be appreciative to learn every aspect. And at some point in your life, you can't just go from zero to none. You know what I mean? So you have to deal with that stuff till you get a master marketing plan where they're watching you, and if they call you from watching you on YouTube, like they'll call me, they know what I look like, they know what I sound like, they know my personality, they've seen my crew, they've seen the way I present myself. I'm not here to sugarcoat or patronize you or anything like that because the customers straight love what I do. So as a marketing thing, I was right from the very beginning the way I went after it because a lot of ways people are going to make money coming up is going to be through like people want a sponsorship and stuff like that. There's a lot of that's going to be coming soon. So this Javier, I got Javier, Milton Senior and Milton Junior on this one. I wanted the original crew on here because we were going to take a picture with the silver button. Thanks for everyone. West Coast hit 100,000 subs. Thank you very much. It never seemed like that big a deal to me. The main thing for me, the most excited, believe it or not, was when I got monetized. I got 1,000 subs. That's what I basically figured would be. Now you're on the now you're on the spotlight where you have a monetized legitimate channel. And we put a little pony wall inside here because it was the design that she showed me. And they're going to veneer the front half of this house with this really expensive like white stone like veneer. And they're going to do this wall that we put up that's tied into these floating steps. They're going to have the veneer on it, and then they're going to have the address on it that lights up also. So I'm going to have to come back and do a whole video of this with the landscaping. I mean, it's incredible the taste that she had and the trees that she got. I'll show you the tree. They got a strawberry tree on here that was so beautiful, and I never really noticed one. And she said that they run from, depending on the size, from 8,500 to 20,000, depending on how big it is. And the company manicures and takes care of it for a year. I mean, it's just a stunning tree. I have some shots of it in here. So here's our setup. We got 4 steps out of this, which I wanted to do. I really want to do some grandiose, huge ones, like wedding cake stacked, like 8 or 9 stacked, and then a landing, and then 5 or 6 stacked up with all the corners lined up. I don't know if you guys know what a wedding cake is. I did one at an A celebrity house, but he would not let me show any pictures or mention him because I had to sign a confidentiality thing. But I want to do a set like that set that I did there. But these sets on these houses with these raised foundations and flat streets are just come out. Wait till you see the end of this. Feels good to be back. I'm going to sign another one probably today or tomorrow, another floating step driveway. And I should do about, I don't know, 10 to 15 of them a year. I was going to try and do. Maybe I could do more. I don't know. They take about 4 or 5 days. This is concrete at the highest level you got to see. And the way it's ran, the way we place it. I mean, it's 7 yards total. And it'll cost you over 30,000 to do floating steps with lights like this for 7 yards. Nobody's commanding that. That tells you people can say and talk trash or whatever they want. Not that I care, but nobody's getting 30 grand for 7 yards. You know what I mean? This is how exquisite this work is and how specialized it is. And I've been to jobs where before they see me on YouTube, because they don't immediately find me out of the gate. Some people go to Google or whatever, and they've called me and say, "I found you on YouTube. I know you can do floating steps. I've had 8 or 10 contractors out here, and none of them will even attempt it." It just tells you to have a different lane in concrete is very unique and very special to do. It's not easy to do because I'm in a completely different lane. The customers will straight tell me that, yeah, we just want you to do it. There's no one else come in or look at it because I already know that because there's no one else can do that. And all the Newport end high end contractors that have 2 or 3 crews that do all that residential up there, they couldn't compete with me. They're in-house guys. They got so much, workers' comp, overhead, trucks, their yard, their office, and they don't own equipment. I used to do all their demoing and pumping, so they have to farm out their demo, which they're just getting smoked on at $4 a foot, $5 a foot, and then they got to pay for the pump. In some of the jobs, the pump goes back there 4 or 5 times. The pump, they couldn't compete with me, and then they couldn't compete with the quality. They couldn't even come close. But before it was hard to beat those guys because they had a name up there. But now with the social media and marketing I have, it's just they don't even call them up there. And I know every company that does Corona Del Mar, Laguna Beach, Newport. I've demoed and pumped for all of those guys. There's a select group. That's Victor Delgado. The guy was awesome. That's who did the lights for me. Here we go. We're going to pour the first set. We're all set up. You guys are going to love this. This is absolutely lights out video. This is stuff you won't see. Everybody could do it, but they just don't post it. We'll see the comments on this video. Call it arrogance, we'll call it whatever you want, but it is what it is. I don't see anyone else post anything close to this. And this is going to continue. West Coast is just going to blow this up with the work I'm doing and the contacts I have now. It's big enough now where I'm getting the best of the best calls that are just unbelievable. They wouldn't call just anybody. So we're setting the pump up. That's an Olin 545. That's the pump I've always had. That's the thing. Whatever you have and wherever you're at in life, you have to be grateful for what you have and just keep moving on from there. You know, other than your health and your family, these people's houses that you're coming to work out's the top list of most important things in their life, you know, other than their health and their family. So when you come there, it's got to be a personal thing, unless you're just laying concrete. But concrete's a one-shot deal, and that's why I like it. I don't get pressured at all. It doesn't bug me on anything, doesn't scare me. Because when I was a pumper and a demo, and I did all that stuff, I did the hardest, craziest stuff you could do. Where I would roll up on stuff and they're like, "Oh, this one's crazy," but I'd look at it and go, "Oh, I've done way worse stuff than this." And they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is nothing." And that's how I wanted to be. I wanted to be the best of the best and pump the highest PSI mixes, the longest runs, the, high rise, low sack slurries. That's Victor right there. He did the lights for me. They come out amazing. So we got four guys out here, three finishers. We're only pouring 4 yards, but you got to use three finishers. That's how I roll because the whole thing's stripped, faced. It's got to be perfect. When you charge top dollar, you got to come through. And I'm 100% confident on everything I do that I'm going to come through for the people. And I'm in LA, and I wanted to wash it, sand wash it, but for some reason they don't understand what microfibers are. They use Stealth, the long ones, and I say make it happen in Long Beach, Gardena, Compton, everywhere I've been. I'm like, hey, send the microfibers because I'm going to wash it. Oh, okay. And then they send Stealth fibers, the long ones. So I don't in LA. I'm not without my connections. I'm not even going to wash it. I'm just going to broom the steps. But this thing is one of my favorite sets. I absolutely love it. Got to go slow. You got to be clean. You're not using a buggy and a wheelbarrow and showing up for 30 grand. It's collateral damage for me. I charge for everything. I overman it, everything I do. That's how I roll. That's another way to stay safe. But I understand sometimes you can't get that kind of money and you have a family and you have bills to do. I've had to do it, you know. I'm not going to say I haven't. To get to the level I'm at is not overnight, obviously. You don't get this good at stuff without doing crap loads of it. I don't know. I mean, stating the obvious that I'm probably smarter than anyone on here posting, which is obvious, but I think I'm just more, I pay attention more. And I had the luxury of being working for all the highest end guys in California as a service. So I saw, I mean, just everything from the worst to the absolute best. And now I can confidently look back at any of those companies I bumped for in Newport, wherever I was at, and easily outdo them. I could straighten their business out where it would make double. There was so much cream coming off the top. They were losing so much money the way they were rolling it. I've tore stuff out in Newport Beach, Laguna that they just poured. Like, oh, we lost that part, that load. We're going to tear it out. I'm like, dude, that's not catastrophic, but they're employees, and the owner's not even there. So he's just trusting on the guys out there, and they're doing the best they can. You know, sometimes they don't have the talent, and they're just doing crazy, really nice jobs. But I absolutely love pouring these steps, and I really want to get elaborate at what I'm doing. Here's Milton Jr. You really want to ultimately pour it with no joints in it, but it's really risky. And off that corner on that house, you guys know who pour concrete, that's not going to turn out well. And there's another joint in one of the planters we had to put in. I try and do them. These are just bigger than normally. I wanted them bigger, and he let me do it. Shout out to the homeowner and the daughter, the dad and the daughter. They're amazing. The customers you get off YouTube that come with full confidence in you from seeing what you've done and how proven you are, and just looking at your videos. It's facts of fact. You don't have to say anything. They know. Are amazing customers because they're really excited and this is what they want, and they know that very few guys are going to deliver this, and they're only in California, the ones you can, in probably Southern California at that, and I'm one of the few. It's a big difference. Concrete's not concrete. This every bit of this is etched, every bit of it is faced. These are upper step tools, nose tools. You got to face it, pull everything. This is a set. If I had the entryway to do it, I would do it like this. But if I had a really high up house, like in Newport Coast or in the hills, I could do a wedding cake set. But this set here on flatter neighborhoods, I just love. Javier through this little pony wall, and it's just a little 3 foot wall with a return on it, and then they're gonna put the veneer stone on it, and on the front of it, they're gonna have the address with the lights on it. See, timing's just impeccable when to do this. This is, it's so tight in here. You can get an army of guys and say, "Oh, we got 8 guys on our crew here," and how are you going to get in there and everybody's hands in there and do what they need to do? It needs to be one guy that knows the timing on each section, and it's just in perfect sequence. And that's how West Coast rolls, and that's the way what you're going to get. You're going to get this every time, and there's a price to pay for that. You know, it's not an arbitrary price per square foot. Like, oh, this guy's at $20 a square foot. Well, I don't care. Let him pour it. It's per square foot. I do what I know it's worth, and I have a good feeling of how to charge. Obviously, see this broom on these floating steps. I'm really starting to fall in love with it. The look of it, the light. It comes out so just perfect. Milton's getting underneath this because this whole thing's faced and stripped. And just behind where he's at, they're going to put a baby dwarf lemon tree, and then they got the strawberry tree in the yard to the right. You guys will be able to see it coming up. That's the first pour. You cannot pour floating steps all at once. You'll lock the board in. That's the strawberry tree right there. That thing is stunning in person. But it's a personal thing when you do people's entries way. You got to realize they're going to be going up and down those the rest of their life. Thanksgiving and holidays, relatives come over and go up and down them. And, the front of your house is the first thing you see. So you see of somebody's house. And I feel it's very personal when they let me on there to do it and trust me to do it. I'm very grateful for it. So I go all out. And Javier and the boys, you don't have to worry about them. I've put together the best crew you're going to put together. And that's how I approach business. And I'm not a slave to it. I don't have to work every day. How do I live in such expensive zip code in Orange County on the beach? Because the way I did it, I had to perfect it. Look, I've never had a job. I learned all this on my own. Business, marketing, taxes, equipment, all by myself. I've been a drug addict before. I've been an alcoholic. I've been homeless. If you dream big and you can visually see it, you can achieve it. I'm living proof of it. I don't know what level you think I'm at, whatever, but for me, it's exactly where I wanted to be. I feel about as rich as guy in the world, but if you look at my finances, you certainly wouldn't think that, but that's not how you want to gauge yourself. You don't want to look at my platinum, look at my new Bobcat, my new excavator. We already know you're just chasing the wind, buddy. You know, I know because I did it. I'm on the second half of my career, and now I'm going to go balls to the wall on it. I'm going to really build something crazy out of this, and I'm going to take on some of the craziest jobs. And I don't like working for other contractors or bringing any other concrete guys on my job because they're just buffoons, and they get nervous around me, and they know that they can't be jokers, or I'm going to spot their incompetence out, and they'll know right away. And but a lot of architects hire these other guys, and then they try and bring me, and then add money on top of it. I ain't rolling like that. The architects go on YouTube and see me. Just call me direct. I'm not going with some middleman and him told me to break off 10 grand for him. It's just not the way I operate, you know. So we got some beautiful weather. Another reason why was the election, all the chaos going on, all the low ballers calling in. That's why I just shut it down for 3 months. I just went to the beach and hung out with my kids. It was awesome. I'm ready to go back now. This job I was really eager to do, and then it rained for the first time all winter. We're running about a 5.5 slump. It rained for the first time all winter, so we had to shut it down because we didn't want to make a muddy mess for a week, and then I had to come back the next week, and then we hit it. So this is a second pour. You have to do it one every other step so you can pull the 4x4. There's a 4x4 in the front of the concrete, in front of under the step, excuse me, dang. So when you pull the 4x4, you have a 3.5 inch hangover, and then we get an inch and a quarter gap in between each step, which really looks nice. I mean, to get the lights in there and then to clean them, if you get it any skinny or any thinner, the gap in between, how are you going to clean the lights? Because Victor said he had to get on his back last time, and it was really a nightmare. But this time he had a little different technique, but it was really sweet the way he did it. He did it with a stake, so he has it that distance away from the edge, and it came out better, and they radiate better the lights, LED lights. My pump's kicking a little bit. I got the air up a little too high. I thought the mud was stiffer, but I've done this so much for me, it's like I don't really care. You know what I mean? I could walk 10 feet and bleed the air off, but this is only 3 yards. That's why you see it surging a little bit like that. But if you hear the piston pinging on the back, then you got too much. But it wasn't pinging; it was just jerking a little bit like that. Which everybody's all hands on deck, so I didn't want to walk back there and bleed there. I didn't really care. So same crew: Javier, Milton, Junior, and Senior, rolling with me on this. And that's how thick the step is off of that. That's going to be a planter over there. We got two entries to this. You can walk up the driveway and come onto the staircase and up to the house, make a left, or you can come straight up from the street, which the lady wanted. She had really nice taste. She should almost be a landscape architect. The trees and everything she has on her, just place. I'm going to come back when she landscapes it and it's veneered and it has the lights on the address lights on the little pony wall. So we're just being careful here, not trying to move the lights out too far. He used it as a stake, like a wooden stake for the gap. It really illuminates them. And we just fill the wall while we're pumping. I just order a little extra concrete for it. You got to fill that baby solid. It's just a little pony. It's not holding anything. It's not retaining anything. It's decorative, and it's gonna have the veneer stone and the dress on it. It was in the design she showed me, which it looked amazing. I really liked it. There was a wall in the design too to the left that I took out because it didn't make sense. It just trapped off the driveway entrance. I didn't like it. So we just did this wall with the veneer and the lights on it. But I'll go back and I'll do a whole video of this when it's all landscape, the lights are on, people will be going crazy over this. This is making concrete the highest end with the simplicity of no color, no stamping. I see these guys on here that have this stamp and these ribbons and all this stuff going on in these little areas, and it's so busy I can't even comprehend what it is. So when I design stuff, I don't use color. I don't like the fade in it. I don't like how it looks. I don't like stamping at all. I hate the look of that. So you got a couple options. You can do a light exposed aggregate sugar finish, broom it, or top cast it, sand finish it. Those are the three for me, and I don't really like the exposed aggregate. So we're getting a wooden bowl float on this, and then throwing a Fresno, sealing it up, and then we'll be getting weight and game. We kick back and eat, and then we dig in on it. Second pour went quicker. It was more in the sun. Up on the porch hung up on us, but I don't want to put any polar set in it or any accelerant in it. Just because it's a one day, if we're there longer, that first pour, then so be it. You know, there's our joint cutters, what we use out here. We cut them first with that, and it cuts a deep cut, and then we run a hand through it, and that shape them up and make them look real nice. Cutting a deep one there to make sure that doesn't crack. That's the only joint we put in the whole thing, and the one on the door and the one across the sidewalk. There's just some that it's inevitable. You have to do it. I would like to ultimately do it where it looked like it was machined and set there with no joints, but you guys know the nature of those corners. It's got fiber in it, but I just didn't trust it. But aesthetically, yeah, I'd like to nail like a bunch of them with no joints. That's why I like the wedding cake that are straight up and down, and the corners all line up because you don't need any joints on them. There's nowhere to put a joint. You can see how hard these guys are just once they get going and get it stripped, they're just getting down the whole time. There's no sitting around. But we're always ahead of the game with the pump. We get it down so fast. It's laid down. It's bull floated behind the guy screening it. We're kicking back. Everyone's sitting out by the truck or whatever talking. It's just a stage as you go, and it's basically the same every time. In a hot summer 100-degree day, I like a little 1% retardant because when you strip the forms, it's butter, like butter. It's so clean it pulls off. But these guys don't like it, so I don't order it. They're the ones finishing it. That's a joint we put in there. It has the minimal. We put the minimal in. When you see the whole thing at the end, stick around for the night shot. It's a full money shot with the lights on this. This is next level. Shout out to Ladybug for the editing. What do you guys think? She's doing a killer job. And see that 4x4 will be stripped the next day on the second pour. So you pour every other step and then you set up and you pour the remaining steps, but you got to leave the 4x4 in the front and it's got foam underneath. So you come back the next day and you pull the 4x4 because you got to let it sit overnight. You can't pull the 4x4 in the second pour overnight because that ledge would be very vulnerable. I mean, it's so green. Any kind of anything would just break that edge off, and that's catastrophic if that edge falls off. So I got another set to do, a pretty nice set with a driveway. I'm I'm coming back to this house, and it's about 4 or 5 loads, the driveway and the back pool deck and all that. I'll be coming back to do this, so you guys will see a really good. You'll see the whole landscaping, the driveway, the back pool I do, and they're redoing the pool and all that. So this is going to be a definitely not a one hitter. I'll be back to film everything again, and then I'll be back to film the driveway and the pool deck. But I'm going to do a whole video by itself just on this front entryway, the landscaping, the little pony wall. That's the broom. They got the nylon green broom. It looked really nice, really crisp lines. It makes it look real nice. And there's a lot on this you got to do by hand, like they're doing touch ups because you can't get a 4-foot broom, 3-foot broom in that little area. Check this out. There's a night shot. What do you think of that? And when this is landscaped and that wall's veneered with the lights on it. No, that's a grand entrance, right? Leave a comment what you think of the work and what you think. And thanks so much for watching. And West Coast is back full time. I'm potentially gonna put up a video a week, but it's got to be a special and good video I'll put up, something viable that people want to see. I want to thank everybody for watching. You're watching the best in the West, the best on YouTube. Thank you very much. Wow.